I have a clip here for you today from Sky News Australia. It's 9 minutes, so it is a relatively long clip, but it's a general montage of the views of Sky News Australia and how they interpret the various issues to do with migration into Europe. And there are 3 countries featured specifically in this: Spain, France and the UK. So this is really there to show you how we're being viewed by people like Australia, and how the rest of the world is kind of looking on at us and shaking their heads in disbelief, really. The term "the strange death of Europe" covers it perfectly, I would say, because it is the very strange death of Europe. There's no reason why we should choose to destroy our culture, our history, and all of our communities for this mass migration ideology. It has no reasoning behind it, no logicality, but as you'll see in the clip, tensions are escalating, and they're escalating very quickly, and I fear for what's going to happen in the future, as I'm sure you do.
It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France and the UK right now, as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people. Spain is currently in crisis, with ongoing clashes between migrant gangs and Spaniards following the violent bashing of an elderly man in Torre Pacheco. And again in Spain, a man with a baby was callously threatened by a knife-wielding gang for simply walking down the street. And in the tourist mecca of Barcelona, the cobblestone laneways are no longer filled with people enjoying their vacations, but with hundreds of Muslim men chanting. This commentator sent a stark warning, saying if you wanted to visit Barcelona, Spain, now it's looking like Islamabad, Pakistan. France is also in a migration mess, with violence running rampant in the streets, like at the Fête de la Musique last month, where hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes and property set alight. Online commentators were in shock with the footage, with this person saying, "This is France? This looks like Ghana, not France." And 2 women were left injured and terrified after their car was surrounded and destroyed by rioters following the PSG Champions League victory. In the UK, the situation is even more dire, with daily occurrences of violent bashings and stabbings by migrant groups on innocent local victims. Knife crime is at an all-time high, with people being randomly targeted on the streets.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Give the play back to you, again. Let's go! Let's go! You're not going to use the play. You're not going to use the play. You're not going to use the play.
Women's advocacy group Women's Safety Initiative is speaking up about the issue to raise awareness about the dire state of play in the UK at the moment.
The silent impact of mass migration on women's daily lives in the UK is a stark reminder of the point that we have got to in this country. A country that has chosen multiculturalism over assimilation, ultimately leading to what we have now. Parallel communities with limited cross-cultural understanding. Let's take a look at Borsley Green, one of the most dangerous areas you could possibly live in Birmingham, with 181 crimes per 1,000 residents, and a large portion of these crimes being of sexual and violent offences. Now let me make it clear, the demographic of this ward is significant. Less than 10% of this ward account for white British people. Violence and sexual offences constitute the largest crime category in Borsley Green, making up 50.3% of all crimes reported. They are averaging at about 150 to 160 violent sexual offences committed every month.
And commentator Matt Goodwin agreed.
So a 24-year-old man has been brutally murdered on the streets of London, outside a luxury hotel, by another man who was allegedly trying to steal his watch. This is merely the latest horrific symbol of how out of control and horrific London has become. Just look at the stats. Shoplifting is up 54%, theft from the person is up 41%, 70,000 phones were stolen from people in this city last year alone. There's a rape every hour, sexual offences are through the roof, and it's not just the crime that bothers me. London has also become a symbol for liberal progressives of how they'd like to see the rest of the country. But do you really want the rest of the country to look like London? Hundreds of thousands of people who don't speak English, our national language, hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, hate marches on the streets of our capital city every week, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah hate marches.
And all of this stark evidence and footage of countries overrun by violence and division, yet their governments and leadership do absolutely nothing. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer seems to be more concerned about protecting the illegal migrants than protecting his own people. Reform UK's Zia Yusuf slammed the Prime Minister for his incompetence on the issue.
It's all garbage. No one's listening, which is why his approval ratings have collapsed at historic speed. Look, there's north of 1.2 million people here in this country illegally already. They are crossing the channel illegally at record numbers, right? So things aren't not improving fast enough. They are getting demonstrably worse every single week. And the only way we're going to solve this problem, Mike, and restore a social contract that is hanging by a thread in this country is by deporting every single one of those 1.2 million people who are here. We need to be standing up enormous amounts of detention capacity. We need huge numbers of charter flights. We need return agreements with countries to take these people back. And if they don't take them back, we need to be doing things like stopping issuing visas altogether. We need to be scrapping the foreign aid.
And Starmer's latest humiliation, his deal with Emmanuel Macron of France over illegals, which commentators believe will have absolutely no impact on fixing the current issue.
As far as their main kind of policies go, one of them they bang on about because of that ridiculous, ludicrous summit Le Summit, as we called it here, between Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer. You know, they seem to think that finding some form of middle ground and finding an agreement on stopping the migrants is going to stop them. Well, it isn't. You know, they've now got the idea, Yvette Cooper has, that they're going to send some people back to Iraq. You know, I'll believe it when I see it. Nothing of what they do works.
No one is going to go back to Iraq because even if they have a returns deal, the European Convention of Human Rights in its court will interfere and prevent that deal from being enacted.
And in a shock move, French reports indicate that France is now giving all Palestinians in Gaza the opportunity to apply for asylum. This commentator revealed the news, saying, "A French court has ruled that all people from Gaza can apply for asylum in France. That is 2.1 million people that can come to Europe. Not only that, because of freedom of movement, they could potentially travel anywhere in the EU once inside France. Sounds like a bad idea." And whilst the leaders of Europe refuse to do anything, the people have taken things into their own hands to send a message that this will not be tolerated.
España cristiana y no musulmana. España cristiana y no
Spaniards have also had enough and are responding with violence.
This situation that's happening not just in the UK but in Spain and France is desperate right now. And when you look at places like France and like Spain, they are actually far beyond the British experience. Their levels of migration are far higher. And as an island nation, it's very strange that we should choose not to enforce our borders, particularly when the people of this country are screaming out for it all of the time. Governments, successive governments, have been voted in and voted out even on this basis. The Tories were voted out on the basis of immigration. Brexit was done on the basis of immigration. The Reform Party are going to get voted in at the next election on the basis of immigration. When are the elites going to sit up and take notice? I see no reason why the people of this country should continue to accept this, and many people feel like I do, and unless the authorities choose to sit up and take notice, we are headed for some very, very bad times indeed. There is still time to change course. We still can do it. It's a straightforward enough process. We deport all foreign criminals in our prisons. We freeze all migration coming into the country, and I mean all migration. I don't care about universities or anything like that. We freeze everything. We set up a home guard or some type of police liaising with the army, and we create our own version of ICE as they did in America. And what we do, we start finding illegal migrants and deporting them to the home countries, and if the home countries don't want to take them back, then we apply as much pressure as required before they do take them back. It's quite simple. And unless we do that, unless we change course very, very soon, this is going to get out of hand very, very quickly, and it'll all be on the people that look after us, our so-called politicians. Thanks very much for your time.